Today we are going to discuss nuclei part 2. So last time we had discussed about nuclei part 1. In that we discussed properties of nucleus, classification of nucleus, and almost all introduction to nucleus we discussed, and also discovery of neutron we have seen in that nuclei part 1. So today we are going to discuss about nuclei part 2. So in this topic we are going to study mass energy equivalence, nuclear binding energy, mass defect, binding energy per nucleon topics. Nuclear binding energy, mass defect topics are there. So in order to understand these topics, there is one simple concept we need to know. So that is, let's say I have two protons and two neutrons in our lab, and then I also have a helium nucleus. So helium nucleus contains two protons and two neutrons. Now I will measure the individual two protons and two neutron mass from mass spectrograph. I'll note down the readings, and then later I'll also measure the helium nucleus, uh, mass of the helium nucleus. Then the interesting thing which I find is the individual nucleon mass, that is two protons and two neutrons mass, will be greater than that of the helium nucleus. So if we catch this concept, then nuclear binding energy, mass defects are all very easy to understand. Okay, now let's move on. We will discuss mass energy equivalence. This was given by famous scientist Einstein. What happens here is, let's say our universe is made up of matter and energy. So matter is a it is having a definite mass and it occupies space, and we have different forms of energy: light energy, heat energy, and we can convert from one energy to another energy. That is, from, let's say, light energy to electrical energy we can convert, electrical energy into heat energy we can convert. So they are these energies are interconvertible. So what Einstein gave in his mass energy equivalence was, mass is another form of energy, and mass can be converted into energy, and energy can be converted into mass. That is vice versa. And he gave a famous mass energy equivalence relation, that is E is equal to mc square, where m is the mass of a substance and c is the speed of light, and E is the energy released when we convert that mass into energy. Um, now, uh, now let us understand what is the amount of energy released when 1 gram of substance is converted into energy. So the mass of a substance which I have is 1 gram, so that is 10 power minus 3 kg, and we also know that the speed of light is 3 into 10 power 8 meter per second, and the amount of energy E which will be released when I convert the mass of 1 gram of a substance is given by Einstein's relation E is equal to mc square. Let us substitute the mass of a substance and the speed of light in the relation. Then we get E is equal to 9 into 10 power 13 joules. So if we convert 1 gram of a substance into energy, then a huge amount of energy will be released. Uh, One point you need to understand is, uh, when there is a chemical reaction, then mass will be separately conserved, and energy also will be separately conserved. But in case of nuclear reaction, the conservation of energy uh, will be will happen only when uh, we consider the energy associated with the mass. That means initial energy will be equal to the final energy, provided we take into account of the energy associated with that mass. But whereas in chemical reaction, mass is separately conserved and energy is separately conserved. So conservation of mass will be applied separately and conservation of energy will be applied to the chemical reaction separately. The next important topic is nuclear binding energy. So we all know that um, nucleus is consists of protons and neutrons. They are bound inside the nucleus. They simply cannot come out from the nucleus. That means um, if we wish to separate the nucleons from the nucleus, then some minimum amount of energy need to be supplied to the nucleus. The minimum energy which is required to separate the nucleons from the nucleus is called as the binding energy. So I have a small nucleus. Let's say that could be helium nucleus or a lithium nucleus. So and then I need to separate the nucleons. So then I will give some energy, so that minimum energy which is required in order to separate the nucleons from the nucleus. So this is the binding energy of the this is the definition for the binding energy. So we can also define in another way. Let's say I have some nucleons. It contains some protons and neutrons. Uh, I have free nucleons. So I uh, now I now I bring those nucleons closely, such that their distance will be of the order of 10 power minus 15 meter. When I bring those nucleons very closely, then let's say they form a nucleus, then the energy will be released, which is called as the binding energy of the nucleus. Uh, so why we are so now there are two things which is happening. One is when we break the nucleus into its constituent nucleons, we need to provide certain amount of energy, that is called as binding energy. And similarly, when we want to bind free nucleons, and to form a nucleus, then certain amount of energy will be released. That is also called as the binding energy of the nucleus. And why this is happening? And this phenomena is happening because of the difference in the mass of the constituent nucleons forming a nucleus and the nucleus. So about this we are going to study more the topic called as mass defect. So we know that nucleus is made up of protons and neutrons, and we expect that mass of the nucleus is equal to the total mass of the individual protons and neutrons. Uh, so, but what happens is there will be some difference between the sum of the masses of the nucleons forming a nucleus and the actual mass of the nucleus. I mean to say, the nuclear mass is always less than the individual proton and neutron forming a nucleus, proton and neutron masses. So we have an expression for mass defect which can be given by mass defect is equal to total number of protons in a nucleus multiplied by mass of a proton added to total number of neutrons present in the nucleus multiplied by neutron number, and this will be subtracted by actual mass of the nucleus, where mp is the mass of a proton, mn is the mass of a neutron, and m is the nuclear mass. and Z is the atomic number, and A is mass number. And we all know that mass of the nuclear particles are measured in they are measured using a mass spectrometer, or we can also call it mass spectrographs. Now let us calculate mass defect for a oxygen nucleus. uh, we know that mass of a proton is equal to 1.00727 AMU, atomic mass unit, and mass of a neutron is 1.00866 AMU. That is when we measure as per mass spectrograph. Now, so with that we know we can calculate mass of 8 neutrons, because the oxygen contains 8 neutrons, and which is will be equal to 8 into 1.00866 AMU, and mass of 8 proton is equal to 8 into 1.00727 AMU. Now what I do, now I will take an oxygen atom and then I will ionize it completely. That means I will completely remove the electrons from that oxygen atom. Then I will get oxygen nucleus. Now the experimental mass of the oxygen is given by 15.99053 AMU. So with these data I can easily calculate the mass defect. So mass defect is equal to ZMP plus A minus Z into Mn minus M. So substituting all these values, we get mass defect as 0.13691 AMU. So in board exam and all, we may expect a question to calculate the mass defect of a nucleus. Okay, so after this let us move on the energy equivalent of 1 AMU in joules and electron volt. We know that AMU is it's a unit for measuring the mass of the nuclear particle, and we also know that 1 AMU is equal to 1.660539 into 10 power minus 27 kg. Now if we want to convert this mass into energy, then from Einstein's mass energy equivalence relation we have E is equal to mc square. In order to convert that mass into energy, we multiply the mass by c square. So E is equal to 1.660539 into 10 power minus 27 into 3 into 10 power 8 whole square. And so finally we get, if we simplify the that, we get E is equal to 1.4924 into 10 power minus 10 joules. And we know that there is a conversion for 1 electron volt to joules. So electron volt is basically it's an energy gained by an electron in passing from a lower potential to higher potential. So those lower potential is the negative plate, in the diagram you can see, and positive potential is that positive plate. They both have a potential difference of 1 volt. Then I have an electron, it is traveling from that negative plate to the positive plate, and the energy gained by that electron will be equal to will be converted into joules. So 1 electron volt is equal to 1.602 into 10 power minus 19 joules. So now I will convert the energy which I have got in joules into electron volt. So that is I will divide that 1.602 into 10 power minus 19 joules. So I have like E is equal to 1.4924 into 10 power minus 10 divided by 1.602 into 10 power minus 19 electron volt. That will be equal to E is equal to E is equal to 0.9315 into 10 power 9 electron volt. So finally, I will convert that into million electron volt. Million means 10 power 6. So then finally I will get like E is equal to 931 into 931.5 million electron volt, where million M stands for million. M is equal to 10 power 6. So these conversion also very important when we are solving problems which may come in board exam as well as in the competitive exams. Uh, so we have studied binding energy of a nucleus, and now let us move on to know what is binding energy per nucleon. Uh, Binding energy, we know that it is the energy which is the minimum energy required to break a nucleus into its constituent particles. So but this binding energy may not be a more useful for comparing the when we are comparing with different elements. A more useful uh, a more useful relation will be when we calculate the binding energy per nucleon. uh, that means what is the minimum energy required to uh, in order to we need to supply to a nucleus in order to remove a single nucleon, whether it could be a proton or a neutron. So that will be more useful for comparing the binding energy per nucleon of a different elements. So binding energy per nucleon is defined as it is the ratio of binding energy of a nucleus to the total number of nucleons, that is mass number, that is its mass number. So the expression is binding energy per nucleon is equal to binding energy of a nucleus divided by its mass number, and we can calculate the binding energy by using the mass defect, by calculating the mass defect, and then we can multiply that with c square. That will give us binding energy. Um, so now, let us understand how to calculate the binding energy per nucleon of a deuterium nucleus. Uh, so from the mass defect, let us substitute the Z value, uh, where Z is 1, mass of a proton, so neutron is 1, and mass of a neutron, and then its nuclear mass. When we substitute that in the mass defect relation, we get mass defect is equal to 0.001828 AMU, and when you multiply that AMU with 931.5 million electron volt, then what we get is binding energy will be 2.2 MeV. Then binding energy per nucleon will be binding energy which we have obtained just now multiplied by its atomic mass. It is not atomic mass, say it is a mass number, sorry. So that will be equal to 2.2 divided by 2, so which will be equal to 1.1 million electron volt. So that's all from this video. Thank you for watching the